Hello, I'm Will Diaz, and you're listening to The Third Wall, a podcast that I've put together about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I usually do it with a couple of good friends of mine. Right now, they're probably wondering why I haven't done one in a couple of weeks. Well, it's called procrastination. But tonight, I want to talk about my experience that I had over the weekend. It's a critique, is what it is. On Saturday, we went out downtown. Now, because my wife and I are not in the loop with all the cool and hip things to do in Corpus Christi, we decided to go downtown during one of the block parties, very similar to the block party that is the fiesta. What is it? The Dia de los Muertos, when they have that going on down Star Street. Well, we decided to go out Saturday night, and they're having the St. Patrick's Day one. Spring break, everything was busy, but believe it or not, we were able to find a parking space right in front of the place where we were going to be for the majority of the night, directly in front of the door, within probably 10 yards of my door to the front door of the building. Never in my life have I had that luck. Well, that night we visited a business, a local business called Mesquite Street Pizza and Pasta Company. They are a liked page on my Facebook page, as well as yours, more than likely. And if you don't know this, they're located at 617 North Mesquite Street. We had planned to go there, my friend Raul and I, and his wife. And again, go to this restaurant / comedy club, and see their comedy acts. And we had planned this for a couple of weeks. When we got there, I came very close to leaving because it was so busy. And I'm a pretty patient person. I can wait for long periods of time. But when it is backed up with ill customer service, I walk away. I will leave. I don't care. I will go home. Well, that night, and we got to give them a break. Mesquite Street Pizza and Pasta Company was very busy. Why I was mad was because of the fact that when I was waiting outside, I could see tables that were being emptied, patrons leaving the establishment. They were done with their meals, and the plates would sit on the table for more than 5-10 minutes. And you see the hostess come out, and you wonder if they're going to tell you, "Hang on, sir, Mr. Diaz, we're going to be right with you. We got a table just for you and your buddies." Well, I'm not going to go into all the details. I'm not going to bore you with that. But I'm going to narrow it down to one thing. Communication. Communicate with your patrons. Let them know what's going on. It wasn't just me. There was another couple that left and came back 45 minutes later, wondering if it was their turn yet, because they were on the list just like I was. And they looked at me and said, "Are you still waiting?" "Yes, I am still waiting." But I'm going to give them a break because it was spring break. And they had a block party going on. So some of the people that probably finished their meal were hanging out. And that's cool, man. They were spending money. And that's good. And I'm glad. And I'm sure Mesquite did a great night. And their wait staff did a great night. So Once we were in, the food, I'm only going to talk about what my wife and I ate because those are the only two things that I did try that night. I ordered off the Grinders menu, which are submarine sandwiches. I had the meatball. My wife had the chicken parm. Now, let me tell you this. We had two waitresses. The first waitress took our order, was okay, not great as far as the service that she gave. The second one, though, and I wish I would have remembered to write her name down, but she was exceptional, friendly. She was attentive, funny. She was a spark. She made me forget that wait outside, and she did everything that a good customer service representative of your company should do. And because of her, she alleviated and made me forget for the rest of the night the time I spent waiting. I wish I would remember her name. If I find out, I will say it again. I'll get her name and I'll say it. But she did an exceptional job. She took our meals upstairs to the comedy show because the way I understand it is that the restaurant and the comedy club are two separate entities, but they share the same building. And they work together and they do a good job together because entertainment and food, I guess, go hand in hand. What do you think? Right. So we go upstairs where our 9 o'clock show will begin. And it didn't happen at 9. The show kicked off a little later than 9, probably about 9:15, 9:25, somewhere in there. Well, let me tell you something. That grinder, that meatball grinder, was delicious. The meatballs do not come out of a bag. At least to my knowledge, they don't. They were very well done. Generous in portion sizes. I can't recall how many they were. I wanted more. It didn't matter. The sandwich, the bread, different. I hadn't had that kind of bread before. I don't know if it's homemade. I don't know if it comes out of a bag. Regardless, it was tasty. It was well worth the $8, $9 that I paid for it. The king item on that plate, on that basket, on that grinder, that meatball grinder that I had, the thing that I truly, truly loved was their fries. They were battered, spiced, salted, peppered, whatever they do to them. Delicious. Everyone on our table who had fries ate them. And whatever was left, I picked up. They were a treat. Chicken Parmesan, the chicken parm grinder, on the other hand, that is the one Velma, my wife, had. And I paid a little bit more for that one. I tried some of it. I thought because I'm paying more, it was going to be a better sandwich, a better grinder. But I got to be honest with you, it was a good sandwich, but it did not compare to that meatball grinder. I recommend, and I'm not being paid by the Mesquite Street Pizzeria. I'm not being paid by them. They don't know I'm doing this. I'm not doing this for some sort of payola, plagola stuff. I'm not doing that. I'm doing this because it's honestly something that I feel strong about. I know, food, right? It sounds silly, but I've been thinking about this for the last day or so. I needed to do this, and I have to get it off my chest. And I've been procrastinating a lot lately to get a podcast out. Not because I have a lack of ideas, but just merely because I'm a procrastinator. And I think maybe you can understand that. But let me move on. The comedy, because that's why we went that night, was because we had scheduled friends, my sister-in-law, my brother, my wife, and a good friend of mine, best friend of mine, and his wife. we planned it, and it was specifically to go and have a comedy night at this comedy club, the only one in Corpus that I know of. If there are others, let me know. And there were like 5 different comics that night. The first 4 or 3 or 4, they were okay. They were they were right there on, pretty much open mic night par, open mic comedy night. And I think 1 or 2 have potential. I'm not a comedian. Not at all. I listen to a lot of comics. I understand some of the things that they have to do on stage, and I understand how hard it is. But I got to be honest with you. The first 4 or 3 that went up there, it was open mic night. Now, their main guy, the main act for the night, which we didn't go there for a specific person. This main guy, Larry, where did I put his card? Because I talked to him real briefly after it was over. He was selling shirts. I didn't buy a shirt. I apologize. But he's an original guy. His jokes were funny. Larry Garza, I have his card here. It says, a writer writes, an actor acts, and a comedian never stops being funny. Listen, live, and laugh. Apparently, that is his vision. That is his mantra. That is what he puts on the front of his card. Mr. Garza, Mr. Larry Garza, hails from San Antonio, came down to our beautiful city, and decided to give us a taste of his artwork. I tell you what, if he comes down again, I want you to go check him out. He is good, and he has the right direction. He was very funny, and he knew, because there was opportunities for the others there that night that were comedians to take advantage of opportunities to work the audience. This man took it like Motley Crue does. I mean, he tore it up. I know maybe I could have thought of something better than Motley Crue, but he took that. The first thing he did, I mean, he threw the mic. I mean, he threw the mic down, man, kicked over some drum sets, and he just wailed. I mean, the first thing he did was he just started working the audience, and he did a great job of keeping the audience entertained. He has a joke about the pearly gates, about dying and going to heaven and visiting God, and what he thinks God is really. And that joke, that bit, is truly original. I have never heard it before. It was deep. It was creative. It struck at a lot of different emotions, funny, and I could see how he could be an actor. This guy may become an actor one of these days. But definitely a funny act to watch. I really liked him, and if you have a chance, I would tell him so. Find him, I guess, on Facebook. I haven't looked for him, but I'm sure Larry Garza from San Antonio Comedian you can find him on Facebook. But he did a really great job, and you know what? His act was for more than an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And for any comedian, I think an hour and a half is a marathon. And he kept it live, and he kept it good, and he kept me engaged and was funny. Larry Garza, if you come down again, we'll check you out. So that's how my weekend went. And if you have a chance to drop by the Mesquite Street, let me go back because I want to say the name of our local business properly. Mesquite Street Pizza and Pasta Company. Definitely try their grinder, their meatball grinder and fries. Very good. And they're, again, located at 617 North Mesquite Street. If you know of a business that's local here in Corpus Christi, or, Robstown or Portland or any of the coastal Bend cities, even if it's San Antonio or in the Valley, that you think have something original to offer, let us know about it. Let me know about it. But most of all, comment on what you heard tonight or today, and if you think I'm on spot on about this, or if I'm not, I let me know what you think. I'll reply, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you listening in, and as always, you have a great day. Thank you. You're listening to The Third Wall, and I'm Will Diaz.